Welcome back, race fans, and good morning to the Metro Ford Cup Series here at the Old Bastards Racing League at the virtual Daytona International Speedway. Guaranteed to be another exciting night. Big wrecks, big crashes, and possibly a four-in-a-row winner with Dwayne, the fast Canadian MacArthur. Welcome back. I'm your host, James E. Spring, the Action Sandy P, 60 frames a second on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Today we're live on Twitch, YouTube, as well as the new Goon Squad Roku channel. Search it up on your favorite streaming device and check out the leading sim company. Bring it to you live all across the world. Without our fans, friends, and family, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you all so much for continuously supporting the broadcast. And we look forward to bringing you another great show as we check to see which drivers are out on track. Looks like that's going to be Dan Hill, the number 10 machine, as we've got a long single car qualifying, a 10-minute qualifying here today. But from talking to some of the drivers in the paddock, several will not be taking their qualifying run, opting to start towards the back and try and survive the high banks, the super speedway of Daytona. 2.5 miles around the track. And if you're an iRacing fan and you've been running officials this week, you know how just tough that can be sometimes to bring home a clean car by the time it's all said and done. That the OBRL Metro Ford Cup Series, arguably the cleanest league that we have the pleasure of broadcasting here on Team Goon Squad. But I have a feeling that we will still see the big one coming out here today. Now, coming into tonight, the points very, very close. Dwayne MacArthur leads Eddie Jones by 6 points. Tom Ogle is in third. He's 92 points back. Mike Watts, Greg McDaniel round out the current top 5 in the championship. As always, let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on. The drivers will frequently have the broadcast pulled up on a separate monitor, and if they don't, they just about always go back and watch it over again. Dan Hill climbs up to 10th place with a 50.6, but it's still John Hinchcliffe in the top spot at 50.07. Looks like about 10 drivers have put down time so far. Hill in the MXPX back Chevrolet. No, it's going to be the U.S. Air Force Chevrolet switching sponsors this week for Dan Hill. We'll try and make sure that's still updated, but that sure looks correct. So good to see Hill running a new livery on that number 10 machine, or paint as we call it on the oval side of iRacing. Ryan Lindsay, Greg McDaniel putting down their times. Looks like Brian Glass, Dwayne MacArthur rolling out on track. Rick Nitz in the 35 machine may be rolling out. Hinchcliffe still up top, 50.07. Dan Hill moves all the way up to second, a 50.09, 2 hundredths of a second off that number 8 machine, so he's not going to be able to get the top spot he was looking for. As we check in with Greg McDaniel, we've got about a minute left to go in qualifying. McDaniel, let's see if he improves on a 50.6. He does, a 50.17. And Dwayne MacArthur will be one of the last drivers out on track with his qualifying effort. And as qualifying gets ready to wrap up, about 30 seconds to go, I'd like to thank our sponsors, eMetro4.com, our title sponsor of the OBRL's Cup Series every Sunday morning. If you're looking for a new or used Ford vehicle, check them out, eMetro4.com. Great pricing when other dealerships are raising those prices as high as they can get away with. Metro Ford staying true to MSRP. We've also got Kimball.net coming on board this season. Victor Lane Sports, as well as Dr. Amy, the thyroid fixer, coming on board as a supporting sponsor this season. And it looks like that's going to do it here for qualifying. Let's get ready to go racing here at Daytona. Drivers will get out onto the grid, get some final pre-race notes from race control. And let's run it through tonight's grid. Starting on pole, John Hinchcliffe, the number 8 machine. Dan Hill qualifying second. Mike Schrader will start third. Michael Watts starting fourth. Brian Glass starts fifth. Michael Dow starting sixth. Dakota Pischke starting seventh. Brian Lindsay starts eighth. Dean Gear starting ninth. Tom Ogle starts 10th. Brian Lynch starting 11th. Jonathan Green starting 12th. Cycling it back to Greg McDaniel starting 13th. Chris Clark starts 14th. Wayne MacArthur starting 15th. Ken Huff starts 16th. Ed Perry starting 17th. Bruce Pearson starts 18th. Lloyd Moore starting 19th. Al Turner starts 20th. Joe Brown starting 21st. Eddie Jones starts 22nd. Chris Walsh starting 23rd. Jeff Lyden starting 24th. And cycling it back to one final time, Steve the Mule Thompson starting 25th. Chris Sidner starting 26th. Garrett Cottenham starting 27th. Larry Corey starts 28th. Rick Nitt starting 29th. Bert Dodson starts 30th. And Joe Nelson will round out the 31-car grid here tonight as we get ready to go 90 laps at Daytona. Now the driver's talking, hey, no sense pushing too hard too early on. We're going to try and get through about 80 laps before we start throwing haymakers at each other. But that sounds good in theory, but we know each and every week racers want to race, and sometimes the old red mist strikes early. Drivers all out and away here. It's going to be Hinchcliffe and Hill on the front row. Schrader, Watts, your second row. Glass and Dow, your third row. Now it's going to be interesting to see, will we see the patented fuel runs expected out of these Metro Ford Cup drivers? Or are we going to see an early caution throw a wrench in things? Historically, these guys are absolutely great at running long fuel stints and able to show their strategy on and off the track. Let's see if that's going to hold true for Daytona and just how long we can go before we sacrifice some body work to the racing gods. Race car gets ready to come in. And the green flag flies here at Daytona. It's going to be Hinchcliffe on the inside line in the all-black number 8. Oh, and already we've wadded it up. That's going to be Ed Perry, Bert Dodson involved in that one. Our first caution very early on. Looks like just 2 drivers involved. Let's take a look, see what happened there. Not sure what happened, if he had a mechanical. And poor Bert Dodson, nowhere to go there in the 59. A very odd crash to set the stage here tonight. Let's take a look at that from Bert Dodson's point of view. Perry down low, just hooks the grass and boom, right into Dodson. Perry, a newcomer here at Metro Ford Cup Series. You can see the rookie drivers, those who have 3 digits on their car, are ineligible to qualify until they meet the minimum safety rating and get the approval of the Metro Ford Cup Series admins. So it helps the other drivers let it know, kind of like we did on my road racing career, where novices had to run different colored number plates or an orange shirt if they're provincial novices. The triple-digit drivers out on track tonight: Garrett Cottenham in the 114, Joe Nelson the 106, Ed Perry the 112. All newcomers out here. And a quick caution to set the stage at Daytona. 2 drivers involved in that one. As it looks like Dan Hill's going to come down pit road, dropping way down the standings. Maybe to get off strategy, maybe saying, hey, I don't want to be up front here in this. That's going to put Hinchcliffe and Schrader on the front row. I think Perry and Dodson will have extended stays in pit road. Looks like Dodson's getting back out on track. Perry's got a little bit more damage to repair. Not sure if that was the case of commentator's curse, talking about how clean these drivers normally are, or just a whole lot of bad luck early on. And while you are pacing here at Daytona, you have a long time to think about your life choices. That's 2.5 miles behind a pace car. A very long time to sit and contemplate. So we'll try and get them gridded back up, double file after that very early caution on lap 1. Not really even making it to turn 1 before tragedy struck. So it's Hinchcliffe, Schrader the front row, Glass, Dow your second row, Pischke and Ogle will be your third row. What may be a race of attrition if we keep seeing the yellow flag coming out. Looks like everybody's back out on track. Dodson will be a lap down. Perry still in pit road in the 112. As we should be going green this time by. Perry rolling out of pit road after 3 minutes of repairs on that 112. Now, drivers here have a minimum safety rating they have to maintain throughout. He's more of a incident points per lap rating, I should more aptly describe it as. So drivers, even if they're involved in an incident early on, are strongly encouraged to get back out on track, turn some laps to lower that incident points per lap. But we're green flag racing once more. And let's see if we can get a lap under green here at Daytona. It's Hinchcliffe on the inside line. He's got Brian Glass tucked in behind him. Mike Schrader on the high line. He's also got, looks like it said 94, but I think that's the number. I'm trying to see exactly who that is. Is that Michael Dow on a new paint scheme, I wonder, the number 60? I think it is. I think Dow going as the number 60 on live timing, the number 94 on the Gatorade-backed Chevrolet, but interesting to see the incorrect paint being ran here. Not sure what happened there, very uncharacteristic. As the inside line getting formed up, getting a whole lot of momentum. They're pulling a pretty healthy gap over Schrader, leading the outside line, the number 4 machine. Looks like Brian Lindsay has come back down pit road in the 24 machine. As Hinchcliffe, Glass, and Pischke building up some heat. You've got Dean Gear. He's up 5 spots to the 92. Being tucked in right behind him, but it'll look like behind Schrader. The field getting a little bit unsorted as now Tom Ogle's going to go to the high side in the all-pink number 1. He's got Brian Lynch right ahead of him in the Hooters back number 9 Chevrolet. And speaking of Chevrolet, running 1st through 5th right now. Now, a lot of these drivers, I would think, will be content following along single file and not wanting to put themselves in too much of a precarious position. I think that outside line looking to get something formed up as now Greg McDaniel slides up to 5th. The number 30 machine is the inside line. Very dominant here so far. A high-speed game of crack the whip as everybody tries to fall in line. Hinchcliffe and Glass looking towards that inner middle line. Fans giving some love to Grandpa Pischke, the number 1 machine. He's sitting 3rd in the inside line. Got his missus and baby Elliott tuning in on the YouTube side of things, supporting that number 1. As Pischke's in a good spot so far. He's up 4 positions, staying glued to the inside line right behind Brian Glass. His lap time starting to drop now way back in 11th place. Jonathan Green clicks off the fastest lap so far with a 46.71, heavily squared up into the draft. That was Jeff Lyden ahead. We just saw the 39 machine coming out of pit road. He's going to stay down the apron as the field comes barreling by. And look at that, Brian Glass, Brian Lynch taking over the race lead. It's going to lead Ogle up on the high side, the number 11 machine. That outside line getting a little bit of momentum built up early on. And let's see what Ogle's going to be able to do on the high side. We've got Schrader tucked in behind him in the number 4 machine. But now Ogle's going to be burning up a little bit more fuel as the field breaking down into what I would call 3 distinctive packs. You've got the inside line very heavy. 4 drivers on the outside line. Got to go back 1.6 seconds to Al Turner, leading a freight train of drivers behind him. Turner runs 17th. That's Watts, Jones, Cottenham tucked in right behind him. Keep an eye on Cottenham in the 114, another rookie driver here. But if there was a race where we could see a triple-digit driver make something magical happen, Daytona or Talladega definitely presenting those opportunities. That's hard charger right now. Chris Sidner, the number 29 Ford Mustang, he's up 10 spots. Fitting along in that Mobil 1 backed machine, just kind of watching the battle in front of him, not wanting to get himself in too much danger here. Looks to the outside line of Chris Walsh's 63 Jim Beam Chevrolet Camaro. And starting to see a little bit more two-wide action up here towards the front. Ogle holding on to it, charging at the outside line. That's Mike Schrader. Michael Dow. And I believe, yes, Ken Huff with 46 machine charging up the outside line. So far, it just seems like the inside line's been very dominant after Glass and Lynch were able to make the high line work. Ogle trying to work the side draft against Pischke. In gear tucked in right behind Pischke. That's also Kim Boldnet's own number 30, Greg McDaniel on the inside line. He runs 8th. That's going to be interesting to see what type of fuel runs we can get out of these drivers today if we can go green. You've got to remember drivers such as Tom Ogle and Brian Glass, who are leading their respective lanes here, will be burning just a little bit more fuel as the drivers behind them have that draft advantage to carry them forward. Stretch just a little bit here. Trying to build up as much speed as he can, heading down the backstretch. And it looks like for a brief moment, Ogle and Glass going to go side by side for the lead. Schrader trying to push that number 11 machine as far forward as he can. The 87 of Glass holding on to it on the inside line. And let's see, are Ogle and Glass going to work together? Excuse me, Ogle and Schrader. Are they going to work together and try to get up towards the front, or will Ogle leave that number 4 machine on the high line if he drops down low? So far, it seems like Ogle's willing to hold the number 4 there with him. Maybe trying to get Michael Dow up in the fray. But with traffic coming up on the horizon, we may see some 3 wide here in a brief moment. Maybe by the time we catch up to 3 and 4, it could be the tri-oval. That is a freight train of drivers rocking and rolling here at Daytona. Ogle and Glass still side by side. Second in line is Lynch and Schrader. Oh, and a big move. Trying to see who that was, just hopped up to the high side. I think that was Hinchcliffe, the number 8 machine. Cutting off Michael Dow, saying, all right, it's my time to join the party here, as the outside line gets even more support. Now, Ogle and Schrader well clear of the leaders, but still have not dropped down. Hinchcliffe looking for an opening that cannot be found. Ogle, Schrader, drop down low. They're going to take over the race lead nice and secure as we charge down the backstretch. We got a little bit of traffic ahead. I think that's Dodson, the 59 machine. Yes, it is. The field drives and filtering the single file formation. Dodson goes up high. Oh, 3 wide with traffic is always an exciting moment for all parties involved, but it looks like we're going to get through that nice and easy. As Ogle, Schrader, Glass, Lynch, and Piskey run the top 5 single file. And just like that, Ogle hops out of formation, the number 11 machine. He's going to let the field by here. Almost wondering if Ogle was just trying to get the lap led. Get the point, and then quickly remove himself from any dangerous situation he can find himself in. Ogle's going to fall way back now to 7th place. That will leave Mike Schrader, Brian Glass up front, your race leaders. Lynch, Piskey, still showing Ogle as your top 5, as Ogle's side by side with Michael Dow in the battle for 5th. Or 3 wide on the horizon. I believe that was the Napa back to 112 of Ed Perry involved in that first lap incident. Going up to the high line to allow these race leaders by it. Very interesting. Ogle, who seemed like he was happy backing out of it, all of a sudden right back up in it. Got Dean Fox following him in the 92. And Ogle, once again, your race leader by 500 in a second, charging into 3 and 4. He fell all the way back to about 7th or 8th place before charging forward again. Not entirely sure what Ogle's strategy is. Maybe deciding after falling back, you know what, maybe I'd be a little bit safer out front. Drivers very quickly clicking off laps here of the 90-lap main event. Now, the prediction is once we're about 10 laps left to go is when all bets are off, and you're going to see some pretty wild moves out of these drivers. As Jonathan Green, the 37 machine, he's moved up to 5th. Make it 4th as he's side by side with Brian Glass's 87 machine. 3rd in line on the high side. So Green making some big moves. He's up 9 positions, the same as Tom Ogle, our race leader. Further back in the field, Joe Brown, Chris Walsh up 10 positions each. Chris Cinder now up 12 spots gained. Drivers just rolling along here. Interesting to see Ogle leading the field up against the wall, instead of pinning it down low. Maybe figuring out that the high line may be a bit dominant here today with the draft. Top 5 all single file up against the wall. Mike Schrader leads the inside line. In the bush light back, number 4 Ford Mustang. Excuse me, that was the top 4 drivers. A little bit of lap traffic joined up on the high side. The 112 machine is a lap down. That's Ogle, Gear, Green, and Glass up on the high side. Schrader still trying to make it work in the inside line. He's accompanied by Brian Lynch's number 9. And I'm hesitant to say, but so far a good green flag run going. As Glass has dropped down the inside line ahead of Schrader, what will Ogle, Gear, and Green do here as they stay up on the high side? And look at that massive 3 3/4 second gap. Your top 11 have built up. Chris Walsh leads that second pack in 12th. Again, just about 4 seconds back now. Lap time on the left side of your screen so you can see where your favorite driver is currently at in the mix of things. Getting a little bit squirrely up there. That was Dean Gear's 92 machine. Recently starting to feel better after his bout of illness. So great to see Gear up front, feeling better and driving like his youthful self. Now we are 22 laps into this main event. It looks like Chris Clark in the 91 Ford Mustang will be one of the first drivers down pit road for a green flag stop. Very interested to see what the fuel runs are going to be out of these drivers today. As Ogle holding on to it on the high line, trying to pull Dean Gear, Jonathan Green with him, but Brian Glass, Mike Schrader leading the sideline, as well as Brian Lynch, still working hard to get around those top 3. Looks like Joe Brown's going to go up to the high side, the number 21 Toyota Camry, trying to work that side draft against Pischke. And here comes Brown up 15 positions gained with an absolutely massive run on the high line. He's tucked in behind. That's going to be Jonathan Green's 37 machine. Side by side with Schrader is Brown. 16 spots gained so far. Look at Brown go. Definitely blasting up through the field here. Drop down the inside line, the 37 machine. Brown hints at it, backs out of it as Ogle here up top. Definitely what seems to be the dominant line so far. Brown has made it 18 spots gained so far, just shy of 25 laps into today's main event. Green leading the inside line, also in the black and green. Green in the Ford, Brown on the Toyota. As Brian Glass, his 87 machine, he looks to the outside line to try and get around Jonathan Green. Mike Schrader's going to try and follow suit as well. Looks like Schrader had a little bit of issues there. The number 4 machine, he's hung up to dry on the high side. As we saw John Hinchcliffe come down pit road I think he had a big moment there. Let's take a quick look. That was not the angle we were looking for. Try that one once more, but Hinchcliffe had problems. Looks like he got a little bit loose there. Almost crashed onto pit road, able to hold on to it, kept it out of the infield grass, so well done there. As Hinchcliffe will unfortunately be down 21 spots from where he started. And although the field fairly spread out single file, no longer seeing distinctive packs across Daytona. Everybody back up nose to tail. And no really big breaks. There's a bit of a half-second gap between Mike Schrader in 11th and Eddie Jones in 12th. But Steve Thompson, the number 67, just clicked off the fastest lap of the race, a 46.71. He's got that Toyota moving, getting him planned up for later in the race. Jonathan Green, Brian Glass, side by side in the battle for fourth. Brian Lynch wants to move up in the number 9. He's on the inside line. Is up front, Ogle and Gear working together here and doing a fantastic job of it. Pulling their way up front, holding on to it. Ogle, Gear, Brown, Green, and Lynch. Currently your top 5. You're watching Brown and Green linked up nose to tail. Brown, the 21 Toyota Camry. Green, the number 37 Ford Mustang. Brian Lynch sitting in 5th, and the Hooters back number 9 machine trying to get a little bit further up, but looks like Ogle and Gear have built up a 3/10 advantage. Not sure what those two drivers have figured out, but they've got it going on here. Fairly commanding how this race is going to go for them so far. It's going to be interesting to see if they're still out front after the first cycles happen here. Looks like Jonathan Green, Al Turner, Michael Watts, Garrett Cottingham all coming down pit road together. And our first green flag stops of the evening. Now keep an eye out on Brian Glass, 87. Just as I say that, I was going to say, let's keep an eye and see if that outside line starts moving to the inside to maybe get set up for a green flag stop here. That is exactly what Brian Glass's 87 machine did, but Garrett Cottingham has problems somewhere out on track. 114 had a moment like that's tri-oval, I believe. But still no caution, and here we go. It's about to be a busy pit road. 3 wide into pit road. Oh no, Ogle gets taken out on pit. Your race leader gets hit on pit road. And all that work, I think that was Brian Lynch that got into him, and they're still crashing. Not what you wanted to see here, folks. Let's try and get a replay of that one queued up, but poor Tom Ogle. Look for the replay to get queued up. That was a very busy. Watching the replay on pit road. Brian Lynch came in a little bit hot. We knew that 4 wide action wasn't going to pan out well for just about anybody. And poor Ogle gets collected on pit road, and around he goes in the number 11 machine, getting bounced out into the apron. Brian Lynch sits facing the wrong way, a very busy pit road. And unfortunately for Ogle, that's going to be a lot of work undone here. Now up front, it's Eddie Jones, Dwayne MacArthur, Steve Thompson, Greg McDaniel, Mike Schrader, your top 5. Have not seen a pit road party like that in a long time here at the Metro Ford Cup Series. And Ogle's going to have a lot of work here after being the dominant driver early on. As Eddie Jones going to lead a freight train of drivers. Looks like that's a lot of guys that just came in a pit road. I see Brian Glass in the mix. Let's see how Jones is going to fare having to cut through traffic for the first time in that number 14 machine. As they are swerving all over the place in front of him. Jones, I would guess, is going to check up slightly here. Oh, this is not going to be good. They're 2-3 wide in front of your race leaders. Here comes Eddie Jones. Going to the high line, looking for an opening. He's stuck in behind the number 24 machine. That's going to be Brian Lindsay. And Jones just not lifting. He's going to throw it forward with reckless abandonment. There's 2 wide in front of him, 3 rows deep. Where's the race leader going to try and go here? Now Jones has yet to been down pit road. I would think, I mean, unless he's got a wild strategy, I would think now would be a good time to come down pit road, get some clean track when you get back out onto the surface. But Jones stays out with MacArthur, Thompson, McDaniel, and Schrader tucked in behind him. And we talk about the vortex of danger each and every week as we go 3 wide. That was the 114 of Cottingham who might have gotten tucked up in the wall there. We talk about the vortex of danger, not putting that car in too risky of a position, but Eddie Jones and Dwayne MacArthur just charging forward here. Now your top 5 have a healthy breakaway from the rest of the field. Partly due to pit strategy, opting to stay out as long as they possibly can. Now, interesting point of topic, MacArthur and Thompson did come down on lap 2 under caution to splash more fuel in those machines. Normally that would give you a clean track position later in the run, but that is the opposite of what they're having right now. Jones holding on to it. A very busy racetrack in front of him. And so far, Jones able to click off laps, making it look nice and easy. MacArthur and Thompson stay in the mix, but again, there's so much traffic right ahead. I would not want to be in the same spot that Eddie Jones is here. But I guess one saving grace Jones has, despite being in a precarious position, as he will be able to save a bit of fuel in that number 14 machine. So let's see what Jones is going to do with this opportunity. We're going to call it an opportunity and look at it in a positive light. And it looks like he's just clicking off. That's Brian Glass. He's going to go a lap down in the 87. The other big question is Jones, who's up 21 spots, partly due to pit strategy, has yet to come in. How long is he going to stretch it out for? Or is Jones maybe expecting a caution here that will help him hold on to the track position? Looks like the field fairly content going single file. Got Wheeler join us over here on the YouTube side of things, enjoying the broadcast. And we are live on Twitch, YouTube, and the Team Goon Squad Roku channel this evening. One of the first sim racing broadcast companies making its way over to the silver screen. Again, we couldn't do it without all the fans, viewers, as well as the racers alike. I see who Jones is tucked in behind here. I believe that's the 112 of Ed Perry, the triple-digit driver. No, it's going to be the number 24 machine. This is again a lap down. That's Brian Lindsay in the Liberty-backed Chevrolet Camaro. 40 laps in, we've had one caution early on and a massive pile-up on pit road. I'm trying to think, I believe that's Brian Lynch giving us a report that he had to come down pit road due to a mechanical issue. Either Brian Lynch or Joe Nelson, I'm not entirely sure which. But Joe Nelson and Brian Lynch have both retired for the evening. Unfortunately, they will be done. Bruce Pearson, the number 22, coming down pit road. Big question is, how long is Jones going to stretch it out for? It looks like he took a peek at pit road, opted against it. That's Bert Dodson coming down. But Jones, is Jones going for a one-stop race here? Now, we had that caution early on where he was able to fuel save just a little bit. But I think if we can go to lap 47, 48, with Jones staying out before he comes in, that could signal that he can make this a one-stop race. That's going to be a very interesting pit strategy. Now, Jones was getting a little bit of ribbing from the other drivers saying he is the super speedway expert. As he's going to come down pit road. Wayne MacArthur, Steve Thompson, Greg McDaniel, Mike Schrader will follow suit. So I believe that's going to put Dan Hill in the number 10 Chevrolet as your race leader. And I did get confirmation that's Joe Nelson. And the 106 had a bit of mechanical hardware. Nelson, a newcomer to the Metro Ford Cup Series, still rocking the 106, the triple digit, but a very veteran call, knowing, hey, if I've got problems, let's get off the track and avoid any potential heartbreak here. But well done to him as Hill takes over the race lead. He out no man's land as far as lead lap drivers. Eddie Jones showing in second is about 25 seconds back, but Hill has not come down pit road since lap 3. Dan Hill stretching it out as we are just about at the halfway mark of today's main event. Hill has a 31.4 second lead over Jones. Jones has MacArthur, Thompson tucked in right behind him. Now Hill has not been down pit road since lap 3, but we've got a driver join us, Joe Nelson, the 106 machine, having to retire early. Joe, welcome to the broadcast booth, and explain what happened. Why did you have to bring that 106 in here today?
I just started glitching too bad and stuttering, so I didn't want to cause an accident or anything, so I just brought her in.
Now, Joe, as a triple-digit driver, does that kind of influence your decision a little bit about wanting to risk it or not? Are you less likely to take a chance before you earn that double digit?
No, I don't want to cause any accidents, so anything happens like that, I'm off the track.
Now, Joe, as a newcomer to the league, were you surprised at how clean things were, or did you kind of have an expectation before you joined the Metro Ford Cup Series, kind of what you were getting into each and every Sunday?
Oh, I love racing with these guys. These guys are so clean. You can almost tell where they're going to go, and you don't have to worry about them coming down on you.
Well, Joe, welcome to the large dysfunctional family. I think it's the first time we've had the opportunity to talk, but hopefully we'll have you back up here in the future. And again, welcome, and a very wise veteran call to unfortunately have to bring it in here today.
Yeah, these guys are great. I love it here.
Awesome, Joe. We look forward to having you back, and good luck in your future races, my friend.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was Joe Nelson, a newcomer here to the Metro Ford Cup Series. And again, as he said, the triple-digit 106 driver having mechanical woes, having to bring it down pit road. But again, a very veteran decision made out of the driver of the 106 as well as his crew. So a big thumbs up to him, and hopefully we have him back up here in the future in some sort of capacity. As Dan Hill has come down pit road, we've got Eddie Jones, Dwayne MacArthur, Steve Thompson with a 1.2 second breakaway from Michael Watson fourth. Now this could be a little bit dangerous for the rest of the field. You've got three longtime veterans working together, linked up nose to tail. MacArthur pushing Jones. Thompson not wanting to push MacArthur too much. The rule always states don't push the pusher here in high-speed super speedways. And now the question is, will Michael Watts, who has a whole lot of drivers, he's got Dean Gear, Joe Brown, Dakota Pischke, Greg McDaniel, Chris Wall right behind them. Are we going to see that second large pack close the distance? Because as it stands, I think the top three are still pulling away. I'm almost wondering if these guys will have to go double wide and try and build up some momentum if they want any shot of catching the top three. It's going to be very interesting to see how pit strategy is going to come into play. Your top three all came in a lap 42. The second pack, fourth through about ninth, came in around lap 28, 29 for the most part. Because right now, three amigos, Eddie Jones, Dwayne MacArthur, Steve Thompson, have pulled the gap to 2.1 seconds and second group. And no sign of slowing down here. A lot of wily veterans out in the top 10 tonight at Daytona. Eddie Jones, the self-proclaimed and jokingly proclaimed by his friends and competitors, saying he's the super speedway king. But even before tonight's broadcast, Jones goes, hey, I'm normally wrecked out of these things. Don't look forward for me for advice. But right now, as he stays linked up with MacArthur and Thompson in tow, not having any issues. Field really getting stretched out. They built up a 3-second gap. Watts has Dean Gear tucked in right behind him for fourth. But this second pack not able to get the momentum that they're quite looking for here. Now these drivers all came in on lap 28. They're expecting, if they hold true to form, we're going to see another pit stop around lap 56 for them. It's going to be interesting to see just how the strategy pays out. Because your hard charger out on track is currently third. Steve Thompson, 67 Toyota Camry. Picking up a new title sponsor with Dr. Amy, the thyroid fixer on the hood of that Toyota. Up 22 spots, qualified 25th. But I can just about guarantee ya that Jones and MacArthur are not going to make it easier for the 67 when the elbows come out with about 10 laps left to go. But I think these three are going to wait further towards the end before making any big lunges, knowing that it is a massive breakaway, 3.5 seconds over the rest of the field. You can see on the right side of your screen just how far back Watts leading that second pack is as the gap continues to climb here. And in that second pack, looks like Dakota Pischke wants to get things going with the KimBowl.net sponsor number 30, Greg McDaniel, also moving to the high line. Now Dakota Pischke moves up to fourth. And he's going to try and close what is now a 4-second advantage that the top three, Jones, MacArthur, and Thompson, hold. I think Pischke does have the potential to make that happen in the number one monster back Chevrolet, especially with heavy hitters such as Greg McDaniel, Michael Watts, Dean Gear, Chris Walsh, Joe Brown helping to propel him up towards the front. It's going to take a little bit of organization among this pack to see what's going to happen, but also with this pack on differing fuel and pit strategies, not entirely sure what's going to happen here. Here comes down pit road for what could be his final time tonight. Grandpa Pischke getting some more loves from the fan and that number one machine as he tries to charge back up into podium contention. Now, Pischke last came in a lap 29, so we're expecting a pit stop out of him in the next 3 to 5 laps if he holds true to form. As the top three still rocking and rolling out front. Again, that's Jones, MacArthur, Thompson, who all came down pit road together on lap 42. That means they can stretch it out to at least, I would say, about lap 75 to 80 will be their final fuel window. It's going to be very interesting to see how this is going to break down. They are on a largely different strategy from the rest of the field, but these guys put in a lot of work throughout the week to dial in these strategies. And if the cautions can fall their way, they may be able to make something happen here. Looks like Pischke's slowly closing the gap. He's gained about a 10th on this lead pack, as Thompson's happy not quite getting right on the tail of MacArthur. Now this is interesting as well. Eddie Jones, your current race leader, he's second in points, just 6 behind MacArthur. It's second out on track. Steve Thompson, kind of an outlier, joined up due to work commitments, not running the full season that he was hoping for. But just because Thompson's not going to be in the points chase doesn't mean he does not want a win here at Daytona. As the top three gaining even more ground, 4.5 seconds ahead of Pischke. Pischke's line not getting the momentum they're looking for. Jones, MacArthur, Thompson have somehow figured out the secret sauce, and they're just blasting forward. Shy of 30 laps left to go. Very interested to see how his strategy going to pay out, because the top three have extended their gap now to almost 5 seconds over this tight pack you see on screen. That's 4th to 8th out on screen. Dakota Pischke going to lead several drivers down pit road. Watts, Walsh, and Brown will follow suit. Greg McDaniel stays out a little while longer. Now McDaniel on the same strategy as the top three. He came in a lap 42. But now McDaniel's in a tough spot. He's got a little bit of traffic behind him. I think that's Brian Lindsay, the number 24. Yes, it is. Who's going to stay in the draft of McDaniel. Jonathan Green, Ken Huff coming down pit road. When will now your top four come down? Jones, MacArthur, Thompson, McDaniel. All were last in pit road on lap 42. McDaniel hasn't lost that much time out there in no man's land. He's lost about 2 seconds to the top three, Jones, MacArthur, Thompson. They've pulled a 7.2 second gap over the fourth place driver. Is now Brian Glass coming down pit road in the 87. But everybody inside the top four, whenever they come down pit road, will have more than enough fuel to make it out till the end. I'm wondering if they're going to maybe not fill it up to the brim when they come down, knowing they have plenty of time, plenty of laps to make it after one final stop here this evening at Daytona. Traffic doing a great job going up high, letting the race leaders by. That was number 17 machine of Larry Corey. Haven't talked about Corey much tonight, but he's up 9 spots from where he qualified in the Chevrolet. Will be a 2 laps down at this point, but still searching for a personal best. Looking off laps in that Western Auto-backed Camaro. And one of the advantages these drivers will have, every time they get lapped, they kind of get to see what the fast guys are doing out here, taking a couple notes and learning as they go. And that's what I always did in my endurance racing career as well, is every time the faster class when I was doing motorcycle racing would come by, give the opportunity to, even for a turn or two, see what the guys are doing, take a couple notes and correct what you're doing, and see if you can get in the same sort of groove, so to speak. So even the racing, a good learning opportunity for these guys. Four drivers on the lead lap. Jones, MacArthur, Thompson, McDaniel. Stretching out their fuel run. They all came in on lap 42 together. Now, we don't think they can make it till the end here on fuel unless they try something wild with fuel saving, and they may be able to if they can somehow save 4 or 5 laps of fuel, and that is a huge ask over a 40-lap run. Over 10 to 15% fuel saving will be their goal, but they are a lap ahead here. .25 laps left to go. Jones, MacArthur, Thompson still have just about a 10-second breakaway from the Greg McDaniels number 30 machine, who's still on the lead lap. Other than that, the rest of the field, a lap, if not several laps down. We've had 4 drivers have to retire over the race. Al Turner, Mike Schrader, Joe Nelson, Brian Lynch, all down and back into the virtual hauler. And we did get word Brian Lynch not happy about having to retire early on here tonight. I believe that was Lynch who had the incident with Ogle on pit road. Now, how long are your top 4 after the lap 42 pit stop going to stretch out? Lap times not reflective of too much fuel saving. Last time by, the top 3 all clicking off 47.25 second lap times, almost identical amongst the top 3. Their fastest laps of the race were all 46.7, so only about 0.6 off. And that could very well just be a 3-car draft instead of the massive draft pack they had earlier. Now it looks like a few more drivers join the fray. They will all be a lap down from your race leader. Three laps left to go. It's Jones, MacArthur, Thompson in a nice and tidy three-car pack out front as lap down drivers joining the race leaders to tuck in right behind them, see if they can get a pull towards victory. Maybe even at least one lap back. Greg McDaniel, number 30 machine, was one of the few drivers still on the lead lap. He's coming down pit road for his final stop of the night with 22 to go. As that may be signaling what we're going to see out of Jones, MacArthur, and Thompson here towards the end of this run. That is the 117, I believe. Is that the 19? I forgot who that was. Tucked in behind your top three drivers. No, it's the 17 machine of Larry Corey, still tucked in behind Steve Thompson. Again, the race-winning question, or what could very well be the race-winning question. When will Jones, MacArthur, and Thompson have to come down pit road? If I'm doing my math right up here in the booth, I think if they come down pit road, they should still be 5 to 6 seconds ahead of Greg McDaniel's number 30 machine. And we know McDaniel will be good to go till the end here. But this is going to be very, very interesting how it plays out. McDaniel still in the running here, knowing the top three will have to come down pit road for one final time. But as it stands, Jones, MacArthur, Thompson still pulling the gas on Greg McDaniel. Let's pan over to Greg McDaniel, see where he's at here. Again, kind of in no man's land. He's got a little bit of draft support behind him. As Michael Watts, Dakota Pischke, Joe Brown, Chris Walsh are overtaking the number 30 machine. But McDaniel will fall back to 8th rather quickly here. Michael Watts will take over the 4th place spot. He's 55 seconds back from Steve Thompson at the tail end of that top three pack. And Jones, MacArthur, Thompson still gaining ground on this pack. Your top three trying to build up as much gap as they possibly can so they can get in and out on pit road. I would imagine those top three aren't going to take tires on that final stop. Just enough fuel to make it till the end and get right back out there. Now, historically, we've been seeing about a 43-second pit lane time by the time they cross the entry cones to the time they pass the exit cones. That, in theory, would still put the top three 10 to 12 seconds ahead of this second pack led by Watts, which is 4th through about 8th as they continue rocking and rolling. Standing back up front to Eddie Jones. Still has MacArthur and Thompson shadowing him as there are 17 laps left to go. When will we see the top 3 Titans down pit road? Or have they done some wild maybe overrun? I don't think they have. I think these guys have been holding it wide open and ripping the throttle, mashing out the loud pedal, and just trying to build up as much gap as they possibly can, and maybe, just maybe, banking on a late race caution, but that caution is going to have to come from somebody in 4th place back, I think, as the top 3 have really not hopped out of line, hopped out of formation at all once they took over this dominant race lead. Drivers seem to be clicking off laps. These top 3 have built the gap up to 56 seconds over Watts, who sits in 4th, 1 lap down. Now, an average lap time at this point is about 47.4 seconds, depending on how much draft support you have. Continue watching these top 3. Now, interesting enough, it seems like Thompson not wanting to get right on the back bumper of MacArthur's 83 too much over the duration of this run, kind of playing it safe, taking a peek out into clean air every now and then. Everybody just kind of clicking off laps here. 13 laps left to go. You guys have been out on track for about 35 laps. We've seen 42 was the most out of these guys. That's still going to put the top 3 about 5 or 6 laps short on fuel, barring any caution, but this super speedway racing as well, so still time for the big one to come out in Daytona. Besides the lap 1 caution and a little bit of problems on pit road, it's been a very clean and respectful race amongst these drivers. But every lap that we click off raises the risk factor a little bit more of somebody getting a little bit too aggressive, trying to make something happen. A good way to make something happen late in the race when you get a bunch of drivers bunched up together. In the case of Michael Watts, who's leading that second pack through traffic. Watts still running 4th. He's got Pischke in tow in 5th. Joe Brown, Chris Walsh, Greg McDaniel all in this pack. They've got about a 16-second gap over Brian Glass in 9th. And here we go. The top 3 coming down pit road: Jones, MacArthur, Thompson. The final stop of the night. Jones quickly into his pit. Looks like the right side goes up. The left side goes up. Jones is going to take 4 tires here. Jones rolling out of his pit stall, 15.6 seconds. He'll hold on to the race lead. MacArthur will be behind him on pit road. Thompson still in 3rd. Let's see how this is going to shape up, as here comes a pack of drivers behind them. Oh, how's this going to look, ladies and gentlemen? Where will Michael Watts be in this fray? We're looking for the all-blue 84. And I think Jones, MacArthur, and Thompson are going to hold on to that massive gap they've built up. Now, Thompson didn't get off pit road as quickly. He's about 1.9 seconds back from Dwayne MacArthur, the fast Canadian. But Eddie Jones still has about a 14-second advantage over Michael Watts as he gets that number 14 machine up to pace. MacArthur's going to tuck in right behind him. It's going to be 10 laps left to go as they cross the line. Looks like Thompson reeling in Dwayne MacArthur. But Michael Watts in fourth is closing the gap and doing so fast. It's now down to 10.3 and dropping very, very quickly. Keep an eye out. Things can get very exciting with 10 laps left to go. As we wait for Watts' freight train to come into view, there it is in the backstretch. That is a massive pack of drivers. They're going to try and reel in the top three who are getting up to pace. The gap now down to 9.4 seconds. Not closing as fast as Jones, MacArthur, Thompson link up nose to tail. Trying to slap a tourniquet on the time that they're losing here. And now the time's going the other way. The top three gaining more on the fourth place back drivers. Jones, MacArthur, and Thompson, if we don't have a late race caution, that is a big if. Maybe looking good here to go 1, 2, 3. But a little bit further back with Michael Watts, Dakota Pischke, Joe Brown, Chris Walsh, Greg McDaniel. Still time to wad up some race cars. As that second pack just not quite able to get as much momentum as the top three. For the top three, stretching the gap now to about 10 seconds for Michael Watts. Watts still has Pischke and Brown right behind him. Everybody fighting for points here. So the big question for these drivers that aren't in the top three, do you take it easy, just score some safe points, or dig deep and see what you can do with 7 laps left to go? So far, these guys have raced with the utmost respect amongst each other. But now I am curious, is somebody going to make a big move here, or are they just going to play safe? Because, I mean, if this is the lead pack, I'd absolutely expect the front bumpers to come into play and maybe try and pick up a win. But since this is the battle for fourth, about a 5-car battle for fourth, does that kind of take the aggressiveness slightly out of these drivers? Because nobody wants to be known as the guy who crashed somebody for 8th. And it back up front, this is the top 3 superstars, Jones, MacArthur, Thompson. Jones up 21 spots, MacArthur up 13, and Steve Thompson, your hard charger, out on track, up 22 positions so far this evening. Five laps left to go here at Daytona. Jones and MacArthur battling for the championship, separated by just 6 points. Thompson's number 67 machine wants to get a little bit further ahead if he can. He's got 4 wins so far this season. If Thompson can pick up a win here at Daytona, he will tie with MacArthur with the most wins gained so far. Eddie Jones has 2 wins to his name, trying to make it 3. Jeff Lyden had to come down pit road for a final late race stop, back out on track. Now, if we can take the white flag, we will not see a green-white checker come into play. We have not yet had a caution since lap 1. Hopefully we can keep things going clean and green up until the end. That's what these drivers are known for, is good, clean racing. Doesn't matter if it's short tracks or super speedways. These guys are some of the best on iRacing that you can hope to find, hope to race with at the Metro Ford Cup Series. And the top 3, Jones, MacArthur, Thompson. A massive breakaway, 12 seconds in climbing over the rest of the field here. White flag will be out this time by for Eddie Jones, number 14 machine. Once Ogle had problems on pit road, it's been the Eddie Jones show from about mid-race all the way forward. We've been able to get 14 drivers back on the lead lap. It was down to 3 at one point. As here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the white flag will come out here at Daytona. It's Jones, MacArthur, Thompson. Separated by 0.2 of a second, the top 3 drivers. MacArthur surely knows if he gets out of line, Thompson will try and capitalize one way or the other. There will be no more cautions for the evening. We're going to bring this thing home under green flag conditions. MacArthur takes a peek to the outside line. Jones still has a big run, nowhere for MacArthur to go here. Thompson not sure where he's going to give his support to. MacArthur looks high once more, trying to get a run on Eddie Jones. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Thompson's going to push MacArthur. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Jones, MacArthur, Thompson. Nice and clean here at Daytona. And what a great race amongst 3 great competitors. Great race, 1 caution. Now we did have an incident towards the back. Ian Gear was involved in something going on there. Oh my goodness! What just happened here? So coming to the start-finish line, Gear almost looked like he got up into the wall, came down, and then tragedy struck on the final lap. As our top 3 take their victory photos. And Eddie Jones can enjoy the limelight here. Well done to Eddie Jones, picking up that 3rd win of the season. And gonna burn it down in that number 14 machine. A very well-deserved win here. Gonna work on his burnouts, but other than that, a great race ran. Jones has high-centered it there at the tri-oval. Still waiting on Steve Thompson and Eddie Jones to make their way up into the waiting room. But what a great race amongst these top 3 drivers. Let's take a look as well. What happened there at the end? To see Dean Gear with those problems. Take a look once more. And see just where things went wrong. This is coming up to the white flag. Dean Gear, the 92 machine. Looks like he almost got a little bit loose through 3 and 4. But watch that blue and white head up towards the wall here. Not sure if that's dirty air or what the issue may be. Gear bounces against the wall and unfortunately comes down into traffic. And just absolutely calamity. I see the number 17, the 114, also tied up in that one. That was Garrett Cottingham, who otherwise running a very clean race. He gets involved in the action. And just a big, big wreck to bring things home at the end. But looks like we're starting to get our drivers up here into victory lane. And up first, we're going to have Steve Thompson, the 67 Toyota. Coming out, a good showing here, Steve. And all in all, a pretty clean race for you and the team.
Yeah, it was. I'm not on their team, by the way.
Your team.
I'm not. Yeah, for my team. Last.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not affiliated with Last Ditch Racing, but they let me hang with them, anyways. No, it was a great race. I can't believe Dwayne kind of came up with some pit strategy there, and it frickin' worked.
Now, I mean, all throughout the night, we had the lap 1 incident. We had some pit road shenanigans. But other than that, a very clean super speedway race, avoiding the big one. Were you at all apprehensive that that pit strategy was going to get thrown out the window with a big crash late in the race? Or are you fairly confident it was the top 3 breakaway? It was going to run clean to the end?
I was pretty confident because I think those guys had to kind of stay lined up to try to catch us. So with that strategy, I was pretty confident there wasn't going to be any cautions. I did see we passed some lappers there, and I saw a bunch of cars go off in the infield there. I was worried that the caution was going to come out, but they got back on track.
Yeah, I mean, for Daytona, very clean all the way through, especially with such a big field. And Steve, I guess my last question for you of the evening is, if you're going to crash somebody for the win, why would it be Dwayne MacArthur?
Well, I want to push him to the lead and win the show, because if he had 4 wins in a row, which he was verging on, he would have been kicked out of the league. So we were all hoping for that, so we could all move up 1 spot in the standings.
Well, unfortunately for you and great for MacArthur, that didn't happen. But Steve, a great run out there. Those top 3 drivers absolutely dominating. Always a lot of fun watching you guys, especially watching the old veterans put on a clinic for everybody else. And before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to? Any friends, family, sponsors that made it happen tonight?
Yep, want to thank my wife Wendy for all the support she gives me, and I want to thank emetroford.com for sponsoring this series. Big shout out to Patrick Milligan. He throws a lot of money at this league and a lot of support, keeps everything going. And also to Kimball, he's what helped pay for half of your income there on broadcasting. And then VLS also with Victor Lane Sports, he helped pay for the other half. So that was a big help. And go to emetroford.com. Got a bunch of used vehicles in stock. And if you're looking to order a new one, we've got a new ordering system. You can go to the website, click on custom order your brand new 2023 car, and as soon as the order banks open up, we'll get your car ordered, and you'll only pay MSRP. Other dealers are charging $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 even when you custom order the car. We don't do that, so come check it out. Patrick's upstanding guy and straightforward for a car dealer, is as straight as they frickin' come. So check it out. And I also want to thank my sponsors, Ride TV and drAmyHorniman.com. If you want to get your thyroid fixed, you want to lose weight, you want to grow your hair back, you want to lose your gut, go check it out, drAmyHorniman.com. And of course, thanks to James for broadcasting this series. We really appreciate all that you do for us.
Always glad to be a part of the family, a part of the show, and couldn't do it without you guys, Steve. So thank you. Congratulations on a very well-earned third tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That was Steve Thompson bringing home the third-place spot. Up next, the fast Canadian Dwayne MacArthur, the 83 machine. Getting a little bit hairy there. It looked like you were going to pick up the win and maybe get the old boot, but Eddie Jones, Steve Thompson kept you honest all throughout that run once you had a breakaway.
Yeah, that was an interesting finish. Absolutely, it got a little scary, but we rode together the whole time. We were going to finish together.
Now, we were kind of asking Thompson if you're going to wreck out somebody for the lead, why would it be you? And he said he was going to be more apt to push you towards the win, so I guess you're a little bit safe on that one. But what do you the top three of you guys, you've raced hundreds, if not thousands of races together. You know what you can get away with, who can push, who you can trust to hold tight. Were you expecting anybody to make any moves there, or were you pretty confident everybody's going to finish single file on that run?
I had a pretty good idea. We'd done this show, the three of us, quite a few times. We're pretty comfortable leaning on each other and running in line. I kind of knew we were just going to finish that way. We fanned out a bit. I was curious to see what would happen, but at that point, we got lucky with the pit strategies, and it all kind of played in our favor. So we just took it to the bank.
Yeah, that pit strategy with putting you guys short about 5 to 10 laps fuel short at the end, if I did my math right. What was strategy? Were you fairly confident we weren't going to see what's kind of a stereotypical late race caution for a super speedway, or what was the gamble there?
Actually, it was just to get a loan. So we took 4 tires every time. I'm not sure if everybody did. I think it made a really, really big difference out there. And then once we were kind of lined up on a loan, when you're running 2x2, that bottom line checks up, and 2x2 is a little slower. So once we were able to kind of get out there and just do our thing, we were laying down solid laps. So we're looking at the relative and decided, there's really no reason to come in to get back into the group. So let's see if we can push it away from the group, and we did. And once we were able to push it away from the group, we figured, well, we're in this bed, and let's ride it out and see what happens.
Well, a great strategy worked out well for all three of you, and now the points chase can be really tightening up. It's going to be interesting to see the points leader after tonight at Daytona. Jones was 6 points behind you, and what do you think is going to happen as the late season progresses? You and Jones are right there neck and neck each and every week.
Well, that was the last race for the regular season, so we'll have the playoff reset here. So those 5 bonus points will help Jones on the reset. Whoever has the most wins and poles will be leading to start, but we'll have a fresh start here. Next race at Darlington will be the first race of the chase, so a 3 race to eliminate 4. So hard reset here, and we'll see what happens now in the playoffs.
Awesome. Looking forward to seeing how things are going to shake up for you, Eddie, and all the other hooligans that'll be involved in the chase. And Wayne, a great finish tonight in second. And before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to? Any friends, family, sponsors that made it happen?
Yeah, just big shout out to our sponsors in our league. We got Victory Lane Sports, Kimball.net, and then of course Metro Ford Chicago, emetroford.com. Patrick really keeps us going in this league. All 3 of our sponsors really helped us out this year, but Patrick, year after year, keeps this Cup Series going, keeps the purse there, and broadcasting with you. So thanks to our sponsors, thanks to the other admins that run the league, and just everybody who shows up. I mean, it's a great place to race. It's a great group of guys, and thanks to you for doing the broadcast.
Always my pleasure. A lot of fun calling the action, and as always, congratulations on a great finish, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. We'll see you next time.
Yes, sir. That was Dwayne MacArthur finishing in the number 2 spot. But up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Eddie Jones, bringing it home in the top spot. Now, Eddie, before tonight's broadcast, the other drivers are giving you a little bit of poke in the ribs, saying you're the super speedway pro, and you kind of laughed and said, hey, man, I'm normally crashing out of these things, but all of a sudden, here you are, the top spot in a clean race car when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I enjoy it when everybody's calm. I don't enjoy it when everybody's trying to win on the first 10, 15 laps. So it's just, it's a chess match.
Now, Eddie, with that lap one caution that was kind of a weird caution before the most of the field had got through turn two, do you think that kind of calmed down the drivers right afterwards and made them think, hey, we don't want to set the stage for a wreck fest tonight?
I would like to think that, yeah.
Excellent. It was a good run. And who amongst the three of you guys came up with that wild strategy to run things out as far as you can? That was a long fuel run, about 42 laps we were seeing out of you guys. I mean, a good 10, 15 laps longer than anybody else out on track.
It was Dwayne's master child, and we just all agreed on it, and so let's try it.
Well, glad it worked out well for you. And next week with the chase starting off at Darlington, we got Kansas, Bristol. You've got another super speedway, Talladega. So a good mix of blends before we head to Martinsville and Phoenix to set the stage for the final round of the season. Any tracks you're particularly excited about, apprehensive about, that's going to give you the best chances of bringing home a championship this year?
I'm pretty comfortable at all of them. The flatter the better. I don't like banking, so the flatter the better for me. But I mean, I'm pretty comfortable at all of them. Just going to do what I do. Try to stay out of trouble and be patient and wait till the end, see where things fall out.
Well, it seems like it worked out well for you tonight, my friend. A lot of fun watching that race, and good to see you up 21 spots over the course of tonight. And again, a clean race car at the end of a super speedway race is sometimes an accomplishment in and of itself. So good to have you back up here, Jones, picking up your third win of the season. And as always, man, a great time talking to you. Before I let you go, sign off and celebrate, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout-out to that made it happen for you?
Oh, there's definitely teammates, every one of them. Just working all through the race with every one of them actually, and can't do it without a teammate. So them.
Awesome, Eddie. Always a pleasure, my friend. Good having you up here in the booth whenever we get the opportunity, and always a lot of fun watching that number 14 machine take the top spot. And we wish you the best of luck in the chase getting ready to start up.
Yep. Thank you, man. Good job today.
Thank you, sir. That was Eddie Jones bringing it home in the top spot here at the Metro Ford Cup Series at the Old Bastards Racing League. Wayne MacArthur, Steve Thompson would round out the podium as next week we get ready to start the chase playoffs and start whittling away drivers to take home the championship. As always, my name has been James East on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much for tuning in, spending your Sunday afternoon with us, and I look forward to having you back in the next one. Have a great weekend, everybody.